certain scholarships for carrying-on nationals are 90% based on need, and I've seen others based on 25% based on need. So it really depends on the individual's background. But there's advantages in terms of admission if you're from the state of Grenada. I think they're about 80,000. The list price is about 80,000 US a year. I think. And if you want more details, we can put you in touch with someone from the university.
Yeah, please.
Please.
Yeah, I have a few questions. One is,
Sure.
to understand this investment, we first put in $250,000 to get a citizenship of Grenada.
Correct.
And then after that, when you want to shift to the US, you have to invest at least $150K in the US in a business. So your total cost is about $400.
So if you can go to the pricing slide, please. So this is the Grenada cost for a family of 4.
Yeah.
Okay. This can be plus minus depending on how many people in your family. So this is a work example of a family of 4 with 2 children below
Right.
16.
Right.
On top of this, there'll be some lawyers' fees. This is the one for 2 kids below 16. Okay. If they're above 16, there'll be some additional fees.
How much is it per kid?
So per kid, you then add an extra 25,000. So there's a package of 50,000 government fees. Because the government recognizes, whether you're single or 4 people, you pay 50,000. Then on top of that, there's another 25,000. Okay.
So that's included in that.
Correct. 299 is the
If you're single,
total.
then 220 plus what?
220.
Plus you divide it by 4.
No, the 50 stays.
50 stays.
You remove your this reduces a bit, this reduces
And
a
the
bit.
220 obviously stays.
Yeah, so this might be 270.
Right.
So it's economical for families.
Right.
And the government recognizes that if you're going to move, you're going to move with your family. So that's the Grenada piece, and then on top of that are some lawyers' fees, 15,000, 20,000, whatever, Jidu and Manon should help you negotiate that. Then on the US side, it's entirely up to you what you invest. And the general rule of thumb is has to be north of $150,000. Okay? So some people will say, you know what? We do this business in India, we want to do the same business in the US, we're putting a capital of $1 million. It's our business, it's under our control, we're happy to do that.
Right.
And that can be from 150 to whatever you're comfortable investing in the United States. If you don't wish to run an active business, the gentleman will find you a franchise. Papa John's Pizza Hut, depending on which state you want to be in and where you want your investment to be, or what sort of enterprise you wish to invest, they'll find you something which is suitable. And I've seen them at 150, I've seen them a little bit more, a little bit less. And you appoint a third-party manager because no one is going there to make the coffee or whatever the story. You need to retain the ability to develop and direct that enterprise.
And now when you goes in for a 5-year renewal, the visa goes in for a 5-year renewal every time. I assume that this is the law. So it's not sort of a discretionary process that you get it for 2 or 3 terms and then they decide not to do it.
The law says there's indefinite renewals. Okay. It's not limited. Certain EU visa treaties will say you have 1 renewal, or they're non-renewable, or double renewal. Grenada is indefinite renewal, so you can go there from the age of 21 all the way till the age of 70, providing that business is still there, or the new business is still there. Let's say your Pizza Hut didn't work and you bought Papa John's. As long as your business is there,
Is that?
that's
And that's till the age of 70.
whatever the age.
Whatever the
It's just an example.
Okay.
But what they don't want to do is they don't want to go to the address you give them and there's nothing there. They want to find some Americans and be employed because this is all about developing
Yes.
American economy.
Yes. And then are you entitled to Social Security and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, your resident is, your spouse will get, you'll both get a Social Security number.
Yeah.
Your spouse will be working, can work anywhere. So she has the same entitlements
Right.
as someone else who's been
Right.
working there, and they build up their Social Security payment.
And you pay your taxes on your local business.
Yes, and if you're there for more than 122 days on your worldwide income as well.
Right.
So that's the thing.
And Trump is getting very strict on immigration, so is this possibly under review as well?
So let's look at Trump's policy. I don't think he's strict on people who are adding to the American economy. He doesn't want to have people taking from the economy. And I've been at many presentations where people have been playing videos of Trump to justify his position. And America first, as I keep on saying, doesn't mean America alone. And I think if you're coming to the United States with capital and you're looking to create American jobs, Trump, Reagan, Nixon, got funny people in the United Kingdom who want to get really insular and whatever Brexit they want to do, but I think in the US, if you're coming with money, it's still a very viable, I mean, you saw what he said when he was with Modi in Texas. It was a welcome. It was a welcome message rather than our nose a shout.
Yeah. Now, this $220,000 that we invest as a share in the hotel
Yes.
and resort. Are we a shareholder? Are we a partner? What's the
So
structure?
let me tell you what you're investing in. There's two things you're getting for your $220,000. The first is we declare a trust over the whole hotel and resort and improvements of that. And everyone gets 1/575 ownership certificate, trust entitlement in the asset. Why do we do it like that? Because the laws of Grenada say you have to have a real estate investment to qualify for the benefits of this citizenship. You cannot put 575 names on a title deed. And the other reason you don't want to buy anything which you get a title deed is because anyone can walk into the courthouse in Grenada and search the title deed, and your name will come up. And if you've invested in a citizenship project, it's pretty obvious, as we said today, you didn't wake up thinking I want to invest in Grenada. You came here because you wanted a second citizenship. So if confidentiality is important to you, I really stress against investing in anything where you have the title deed, because it's like saying I have a second citizenship. Here, the trust is in the name of the range, and you are a beneficiary, and 574 people are beneficiaries of the trust. The next thing you get for the $220,000 is a share in a company. And a share in the company, which is equivalent to a fund, basically means that you get the distributions from the hotel. So that is a structure. It's a trust certificate, and it's a share, and through the share, the income is.
So the trust is the land part, and the share is in the business, the hotel is in the resort.
Correct.
And if you are a shareholder in the resort, and the resort is not doing well, that's just say for the sake of argument,
Correct.
can you be called upon to give more?
No, the only person who is in an unfortunate position then is me. Okay, so it's our obligation to cover the losses, and that's all what we do. So, and you know, we fully expect that. The first year of hotel operations anywhere in the world are going to be challenging. So, you know, there was a situation in St. Kitts, year one, we had to contribute capital. Year two, the hotel is making money. You know, if someone thinks it's going to be making 5% in the first year, that would be misguiding. This is the way the hotel business is, any business. It takes time to stabilize.
And what are the tax rules in Grenada if you stay there for some time?
So if you don't stay there, you don't pay tax.
Yeah.
If you stay there, you're taxed on your source income, which is I think 22% if I'm not mistaken.
How many days?
183.
If you stay in Grenada for 183 days, you have to pay the tax on Grenada income.
Correct. It's a lovely place.
What's the language that they speak?
And in terms of ethnicity, I'd say like 70% native African, 20% kind of Indian, Trinidad Indian. Because remember, Trinidad was a place where under British rule a lot of people from India went to Trinidad. So there's quite a collection of Indians there, and it's a mix.
How much will be only in that percentage?
1/575.
This will be this is the complex with how many rooms?
100.
So you only half a room.
You're not only half of it, it's your own, like the whole thing. Because if you own part of a room, you'll say to me, why is room one full, why is room two empty? You know, why am I not getting food revenue?
So sorry, can you repeat that question louder so that everybody can
No, please.
So the gentleman asked, what do I get for my money?
Yeah.
Basically. So the hotel is cut up into 575 slices. Everyone gets 1/575. Okay. Everyone is an equal shareholder. No one is investing in a room because like this gentleman will say, why is room one full? Why is room two empty? Why is he being treated better than me? Why am I not getting a share of the food revenue this lady bought? Why am I not getting a share of the spa? So everyone gets a share of the entire revenue, and there's 575 shares in total.
Is the share transferable?
The share is transferable
After how much time?
after 5 years to someone
Before that,
else.
if I want to sell it, this will
You lose your citizenship. You lose your citizenship.
but I can sell it. If I want to, after 6 months, if I want to sell, I can sell
You
it.
can. You can, but your citizenship will be in
And
doubt.
then the person who buys will get that.
No. he can only apply after 5 years. So one share, one entitlement every 5 years. And if you transfer before then, your citizenship is in doubt.
If suppose this thing happens, then how much do you stand to gain from it, roughly? We spending roughly around 3 lakh.
3 lakh I don't quite get,
No,
but
what I'll be spending.
$300,000.
300,000,
Correct.
300,000, right? If I want to cut off in middle, suppose 6 months down the line, so how much do you think I can expect from it?
So look, if you're going to cut off after 6 months down the line, you're going to be in a tricky situation. Why? Because again, no one woke up this morning wanting to invest in Canadian real estate. They wanted to get a passport. Okay? So if they can't use the share to get a passport, they'd rather go to Manoj and get a share which can get a passport, correct? So then it's a conversation you and me have to have at that time. And try and understand how we can find a good
So
solution.
here I'd like to step in. Let's be clear, right? Even the program is all about getting a passport. So it's not about staying in Grenada or investing in a hotel. It's about getting a passport which gives you other benefits of the visa-free access, and also the biggest benefit which I think most of us would be looking at is access to US. Because let's compare the challenges which we all know. I just spent a couple of minutes there. What are the biggest challenges US has? We have personally done the EB5 program, and so the prices are going up. EB5 had its pluses, minuses, limitation in terms of number of kids and parents and other things. So that is one, and that program at 900,000 is going to be out of bounds for many people. So that's why this we feel is from that point of time in. Second pressure is H1B. And again, somebody mentioned the Trump administration challenges in terms of those looking at H1B, and they read that in the papers. So this E2 visa, according to me, for those who are looking at US as an access, your access to hotel or your share is there. You can ask those questions, you feel free to. But let's understand. No, it's important to understand. But I'm saying the ultimate goal is to get into the US in the best possible way. Another question which was asked earlier was, what happened? We don't have a business. So let's say you're in the steel business, trading business, restaurant business. For those who don't have access and you want to stay in a particular state, we have access to a database of businesses available, which will introduce you to certain lawyers. There are certain business B2B who we can introduce you, and they can tell you, okay, you are looking at a trading business, you're looking at a restaurant business, investing in a pizza or Patel store or whatever. We will introduce you to that, and then you can look at that business in the US where you want to invest. That's a call you will take, but we can help you identify those businesses.
It can be existing business.
It's better. So if you have an existing, so what is the business you have missed?
Somebody else's business, we can enter into that.
As long as you're investing. Yeah.
As long as you have 50% and the ability to direct and develop.
So you have to have 50% ownership in that business. So what is the government telling you, the US government, is this individual is coming from outside, putting money in the country, which Trump likes, and he's creating jobs. So this is all about American jobs being created, and all the international countries are about that. So if you manage to do that in an existing business, but put in your capital, then it qualifies.
How many employees?
I don't think there is there a minimum?
No, but when it comes to renewals, if we can have 2 to 3, US jobs created, that's going to be enough.
Sir, what will the expenses be for getting the visa for E2 visa?
So then it depends on, correct, so assume $150,000, and then the lawyer is what, $20,000?
Yeah, around $20,000, and again we will introduce you to immigration lawyers who are experts in that, and you can choose and pick. We have these 2 lawyers, I can speak right now, immigration lawyers, who will charge you on the basis of the number of people.
But 20,000 is just more than 20,000.
No, it's about $20,000.
About 20,000.
Again, how many
And you are
do you get?
guaranteeing that.
No one's guaranteeing any of these.
E2 visa.
No one's guaranteeing.
So let me So see, it's an immigration process. So it's there is in the sense that because there is an E2 treaty. So before that, let's take a step back. Grenada, you're going for getting the E2. Let's say you're not interested in Grenada. The passport is just a byproduct, and you want to enter the US. I think that's the base of the whole thing. We are not here to come and stay in Grenada. Correct? So
You see the flyers, huh? There's no picture of Grenada, it's all the Golden Gate Bridge.
correct. So once you do that, now as per US is going by certain norms and certain processes. So if it matches the process, they should have done the due diligence. And there are others who have. So the question to ask would be, have those who have applied to this program in the past got the E2 visas? Will those who are interested will introduce you to and tell you about those who have invested and already got the E2 visas?
What is the success rate?
Success rate is good. They come to us for Grenada. No one has come to me saying they've had a rejection. No. Let's look at why you will have a
Not for
rejection.
Canada, I'm asking.
Yes, talking about the US bit as well. Why you will have a rejection in the US? Okay. One, you choose a lawyer who's not very good. Okay. So he prepares you badly. This is all about preparation. So the 2 or 3 lawyers that you vetted, they will sit you down and they will say, these are questions 1 to 20. You are going to be asked. And let's rehearse questions 1 to 20. And they even know the different questions 1 to 20, whether you're applying Mumbai and Dubai or Barbados. There's very few specialized lawyers in this. So for the sake of a few $1,000s, I really wouldn't try and save, because this is crux to the whole. And you know the 2 or 3 lawyers who can do this. He can put you in touch, you meet them, and you choose. Then it's about the documentation you put forward, the business plan. And really, if you go there and you say, I don't know where Grenada is on the map, I've never been to Grenada, what is this funny island, how did you get this money? Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay? So I'd really like it if you could come to Grenada, spend a week before your interview, and I keep on saying the best place to do the interview is in Barbados. Okay, the best place to apply is in Barbados. Go to Grenada for a week. I need pictures of you in the restaurant, in the library, teaching one day in the school, knowing 4 or 5 things. We had one client went to Barbados, did the interview. The interview officer, the visa officer in the US Embassy, just did the interview in Chinese. And all they spoke about, nothing to do with the business plan. What are the 5 good Chinese restaurants in Grenada? Same day, please come and pick up your E2 visa. Okay? This is not a difficult process. It's only difficult if we make it difficult on ourselves. Suit a tie, look the part, you know how it works. So, it's like that.
How about source of fund?
Much easier than EB5. How did you make your $220,000 for Grenada? And how did you make your franchise money, your investment money? If you've got $5 billion and you don't know how you made it, I only need to know how you made the amounts you're investing.
So source of funds
What is
usually,
the difference in the source of fund?
the source of funds is very simple. They all, every time, so first when any program you apply to, they will want to know what is source of fund. So what they are concerned with is the source of fund, drug money, terrorism, all this, kind of money laundering. As long as you have a source of fund, you sold shares, you had an Infosys share, so many crores, and you sold it, or you had a land, you sold it, or you had a property which was sold, or you inherited some money. That is legitimate source of fund, as you can trace it back. That's your source of fund.
But what I was
How many years of retail saving? How many years?
No, as long as you can prove. So tomorrow, they
1
don't.
year, 5 years.
As long as you can show, 1 year you can show that you had that kind of money, let's say if you're investing in the US, you have that 1 year source of fund. That's not, they're not saying, give us apne 5 saal ka balance sheet, they're not asking you all that. They want to know what is source of fund, how did you get the money from, is there legitimate trail of money coming to your bank. So let's say last year, a property was sold or you have inherited that property and the money comes to your bank. As long as you can show that was sale of property, money. It was,
Let's say it's invested in mutual fund. It's
Right.
going on.
Correct.
How do you trace?
so as long as, but you are sold ultimately when you are selling your mutual fund and you are encashing on that, there is a source of fund. So you know you started at X value, you got a compounded or annual rate of return which is the value of this. And as long as you can show that money is remitted by a sale of either a share or a property or a land or any other instrument which is coming, which is legitimate source of fund. As long as you can prove that.
Which scheme you can transfer this $420,000?
It's under the-
Legalized,
Yeah, LRS scheme, RBI LRS scheme, everybody is entitled to transfer up to $250,000. It's the same scheme applicable.
for remaining $150,000, that also.
To cover up, no? Because if it's a family of husband and wife, each one is entitled to $250,000. It's not to $500,000 program. So it's easier. In fact, it's much lower than the EB5. So overall, if you look at it, including the, so you are covered under the LRS.
So what is the chance of getting green card once you get E2? Is there no chance to get
Yes, so the green card is based on three things. One is the size of investment, which is now 900 or 1.8. The number of jobs you create, and your time in the waiting list. So there's two ways to do it. First of all, you apply for E2 and EB5 at the same time. So you go and you take regional center XYZ, put your 900,000, and you go to the US within 7 months here, and you sit there and wait for 10 years, 15 years, 7 years, whatever the waiting time is, to get your EB5 and become a permanent resident. The other option is you have your Burger King or your steel business. When it matures to 1.8 million, you have 10 employees. You can then also qualify under the EB5 program. So what we're seeing today is a lot of people who are sitting there waiting and thinking, okay, I did EB5 because I want to be in the US tomorrow, not in 10 years. They say, Mohammed Manoj, okay, we want to do this now, get into the United States within 7 months, and we'll sit there till that one becomes right. And the new investors are saying, you know, we may or may not want to get EB5 because this tax doesn't sound very nice. We would rather, you know, see if we can remain as a non-permanent resident. But you know, when the business gets to a certain stage, we'll come to you and then make the decision. So the short answer to your question is yes.
So simultaneously, I want to take E2 and E.
It's possible. It's possible. It depends what your long-term ambition is.
To get the green card.
So if your long-term ambition is to be, but get the green card, why? Because you wish to be a total permanent resident in the United States, your house, your children. Maybe we can talk after and work out exactly what your ambitions are.
Because again, it's right, the goal of being a green card is a very thing. Why would you want that? We can again get into a conversation. What's the end goal? What is it? Is it for your children? Is it for yourself? Is it
My
for
children are already there. They are on H1B, so that
Correct.
they can also get the green
Correct.
card. And,
So we can have a side conversation and actually take you through the whole thing, that pros and cons. If you really want it for a green card, then we will show you how that method is. But if you're after listening to all that and you say, "Yaar, green card ka matlab hi nahi hai, let's keep on renewing it for every 5 years," then you can go that far. Again, what is cost effective, what is practical, what is your expectation out of the whole program? Because depends on, it's like again at every age group is a different category. Some people do it for the children because they are studying there and they get institution benefit, and then beyond that they want to stay there, do their post-graduation,
they are
master.
already in the process of getting green
Yes,
card.
I'm saying some are on H1B, so there are different packages available, and again, we're qualified to answer, but then we will get in touch with you with our immigration lawyers who will sit with you, take you through the whole thing. It's like, it can't be told you in a couple of minutes, but there will be pluses and minuses of the whole system.
It's a bespoke, you see, this is a flexible tool. This, EB5, other options, we want to understand fully what you're looking to achieve. And so we can give you the right advice based on your personal circumstances. And that's why EB5 was great, it was in everyone's mind, green card, green card, green card. But when you go to other countries where they have treaties, everyone's talking E2, 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 and no one's even talking green card. So now we have the flexibility of using both. Let's understand exactly what you wish to do.
And again, here the biggest advantage of E2 is that you're there in a very short time, you're in the US.
7 months.
But here there is a green card as the time goes by. Now, what is the Grenada visa program, passport program about?
So, Grenada is a citizenship by investment program which has a long and established pedigree. An individual can invest in the island of Grenada, making a minimum investment of $220,000 in an approved project, and we're the promoters of the Sixth Census project. On top of that, there's certain government fees, which permits an investor and his applicable dependents, including brothers and sisters and children and parents, to obtain citizenship of the island of Grenada. This has a number of benefits, including very wide visa-free travel. That includes the UK, China, Russia, Schengen, the ability to apply for the United States E2 visa. Grenada's citizenship also comes with a number of tax and fiscal advantages, which can be discussed based on an investor's personal circumstance.
So how do you compare it with an EB5 program? How effective is it in a cost point of view?
So, EB5 is a way an individual can obtain permanent residence in the United States. I believe there's some changes with the EB5 program which take effect from next week, where the limits go up to 1.8 million in 90% of the cases, and there's a very small definition of targeted employment area. But EB5 is permanent residence, and it has a very long wait for an individual to move to the United States. Grenada, I touched upon the E2, is an E2 treaty country. So once an individual has citizenship in Grenada, they're eligible to make an additional investment in the United States, which must be substantial, and the custom for the definition of substantial is approximately 150,000 US dollars. So upon making this investment, they can apply at the nearest US consulate for an E2 visa, which provides the investor the ability to invest and reside in the United States, not just for him, but also his family, and they don't have the long waiting list that the EB5 program has.
And also, tell us about the partnership with Travel Mart India Immigration Services. How do you view that partnership?
So we've been working very closely with Travel Mart, Manoj Jitu and his wider team. They've been fantastic partners. They've displayed great integrity. Very well established company in the immigration field. And we look forward to a very long and warm relationship with Travel Mart and Jitu and Manoj over the coming years. They have a fantastic presence in the market.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was okay.
Especially it was EB5, but EB5, the prices are going up effective 21st November, and now we have another program which Mohammed will talk to you more about. And besides that, we do other countries too. But today our focus is on Grenada. And Mohammed, I'd like to, and of course Jitu is a person who will be in touch with you and whose email and communication is there. Please, Mohammed, while you pick up. Mohammed heads an organization called Range Development, and he's going to take us through the presentation on what is the investment possibilities and advantages on Grenada, and how it helps on the E2 visa, which helps you get into US from a business standpoint, and again how the whole Grenada citizenship helps you in terms of visa-free access to a lot of countries. So I think it's over to you, and take it from there. And so we'll have a 15-20 minute presentation, and of course after this a lot of Q&A and kind of interaction. Feel free to ask any questions you have. And again, post this, you have a flight at 11 in the night, so he's available post that if you want to have a one-on-one. Over to you.
Thank you, Manoj, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to be here, and thank you, Jitu. We're incredibly happy to be working with both Manoj and Jitu. They've been great partners to us in India. As Manoj mentioned, the investment migration landscape is incredibly dynamic. For the last 3 years, everyone's just heard EB5, EB5, EB5 as a way to the United States. And you know what? Manoj, Jitu and all their colleagues did such a great job selling EB5, they totally blocked the system. To the effect that you have a 10-year wait or 8-year wait coming out of India. And Congress did me a huge favor by increasing the price of EB5 to 500,000 to 1.8 million to 900, depending where you invest. So I'm exceptionally blessed that you guys did such a great job selling, and Donald Trump and his team made the decision to increase the price, which basically gave the island of Grenada a fantastic opportunity to really expand its footprint. Because what was already a brilliant citizenship by investment program suddenly got a lot more interesting in a very short period of time. So I first came across citizenship by investment in 2012. I'm based in Dubai, and by pure chance, someone walked into my office and said, Mohammed, I want to sell you a passport. And that is really my first interaction with citizenship by investment. And citizenship by investment, in simplest means, if you contribute to a country's economy, that country can reward you with their citizenship, subject to fulfilling certain criteria in the law. The Caribbean has been well known from citizenship by investment, and the island of St. Kitts actually was the first country in the whole world to start citizenship by investment in 1983. And since then, it's become one of the major exports of citizenship. So our first project was in the island of St. Kitts and Nevis. At the time, I also in 2012 didn't know very much about this island, except they were brilliant cricketers. But they have a very strong passport. The passport of St. Kitts and Nevis can take you to 140 countries around the world. including the UK, Schengen, basically everywhere we wish to go except for North America. So in 2013, our first project was the Power Scientists and Kids, and Mario, if you could please forward a slide. This project, one more please. This project opened in 2017, fully funded through citizenship by investment, fully sold, fully driven. Our track record speaks for itself. Condé Nast put this hotel as the best new hotel in the world. CNN put it in a similar standing, and this was in its opening year, so we were very proud of what we were able to achieve. This project is fully sold out, and the reason I'm putting it up is just to show track record of delivery. A couple of years later, we were invited to participate in the island of Dominica, where I've just returned from, where we got the ribbon on our second opening, which is the Kempinski Hotel. And again, we started construction on that in 2016, and 3 years later, we got the ribbon, and again, fully sold out. And again, what St. Kitts and Dominica have in common, and Grenada is one level above, is that these two are just very attractive second passports because of the visa-free travel opportunities they provide. A lot of people in the Middle East are persecuted because of their nationality, their color, their creed, their ethnicity. Some of them don't even have nationality. So these products were especially attractive in the Middle East to people who needed a second citizenship because they had some real insecurity in their life. I came to India in 2013 and 2016 with the St. Kitts product and Dominica product, and people looked at me and said, okay, this is great, but we're happy to wait in line for a visa. We're not going to spend more than $1 million or $500,000 just to make our life that easy. And there were a couple of people who thought we can afford this luxury. However, with Grenada, the situation totally changes because it's the first time that we have a second citizenship product, which is more than a travel document. It has utility. And that utility is the ability to live in the United States. So, in November of last year, we were invited by the government of Grenada to come and develop in this island. They trusted us, our reputation spoke for itself. They said, you are the only people who delivered in the Caribbean in the last 5 years. You built some beautiful products. Please come and do the same thing in our island. So we went to Grenada and we bought this piece of land. We bought 80 acres of land on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Caribbean. And we signed up with the government to build the Six Senses Hotel. Six Senses being one of the leading brands in hospitality worldwide. They've just been bought by Intercontinental and really are a superb brand. So that was our entry into Grenada. That corresponded with a number of very significant amendments to the law of Grenada Citizenship Program. We're instrumental in obtaining that. One is obviously a price reduction to a more palatable level. $220,000 investment qualifies you and your family for citizenship of Grenada. Then there's additional fees based on how many people in your family. That investment has to be held for 5 years. After that 5 years, you can sell your investment to someone else who wants a citizenship, and you maintain your citizenship, and your future generations maintain that citizenship in perpetuity. And that's important because as smart investors, the first question you all have is how do I exit before how do I enter? So there's an exit mechanism, and we're seeing that today. People are walking into my office in Dubai saying, we want to buy your asset in St. Kitts. For whatever reason they want St. Kitts, they don't want Grenada, it's fine. I don't have stock today, so I have to call up my existing investors and say, can someone please sell and intermediate the transaction? And that's why I keep stressing on it, because we built, these assets are ready, and that's why there's a secondary market. So if this is the route you wish to go down, just make sure you're investing far away from home. Do your due diligence properly, otherwise the exit will be very challenging. I mentioned 220 is the investment amount, and there's a whole bunch of additional fees which we'll go into depending on the composition of the family. Out of the whole world, Grenada has the widest definition of family independent. So you can include your brothers and sisters in your application, subject to them being above 18, without children, unmarried. Your parents can be below 55, your kids can be up to 30, they don't have to be in full-time education. So it's very flexible, and we ensured it was done like this to allow for the family composition, especially in this part of the world, especially in the Middle East as well. And the great thing is that a Grenadian citizenship can be obtained within 6 months. It's a documentation process. The government invites you to become citizens. They don't expect you to reside in the country so they get to know you for 5 years. But they want to get to know you from your documentation. So between our teams and Manoj and Jeetu's teams, the whole file can be compiled from here. We have over 1,400 clients who've trusted us since the kids, Dominica and Grenada. And really, it's a bureaucratic process, but they want to get to know your background because this is important for all of you. The integrity and longevity of these schemes depend on the quality of applicant. No one wants a bad guy coming into Grenada because that will destroy the whole system. So once it may be a frustrating process to find your college degree or your police record from whichever state you used to live in, this is all to safeguard the club. And it's an iterative process. There are questions, but we're here to assist you and make sure that process is as pain-free as possible. So why a Grenadian citizenship? First of all, visa-free travel is fantastic. Okay, you can travel one more please, or you can travel to all these countries, and please note China is there and Russia, and Grenada is one of the few islands which has visa-free to China. So it's a fantastic route to make life easy. However, the real icing on the cake is the fact Grenada benefits or is an E2 treaty country. Now, what is the E2 treaty? The United States has friendship treaties, and as part of these friendship alliances, they offer nationals, you don't have to be born there, they offer nationals of these countries the right to invest and reside in the United States. And how do you become a friend of the United States? Either they invade you or you're their ally during times of war. So, I don't know how many of you remember in 1983, there were some problems in South America. The Cubans were building a really, really long runway in Grenada. The United States said we cannot have such a runway which can accommodate big aircraft from Russia so close to our borders. So Ronald Reagan sent his troops in and invaded the country. Liberated, invaded, we'll let history judge what that was. It was a 45-minute war, and they occupied Grenada for a period of time. After that, Grenada and the United States became very close, and a few years later, as part of the reparations of war, Grenada was awarded an E2 treaty with the United States. At the time, no one in Grenada had any idea what an E2 meant. They said thank you as one of 50 benefits, and God bless you. Today, fast forward to 2019, Grenada, I'd say 80% of its foreign direct investment is coming in as a result of this E2 treaty. The E2 treaty says if you're a national of certain countries, and each treaty is different, but Grenada has the most flexible one. If you make a significant investment in the United States, and significant by practice is defined as more than $150,000 US dollars, $150,000 United States dollars, in your business, which can be active or passive, but the law says you have to have the ability to develop and direct. So for example, if you have a steel business here, you can go and set up your own steel business in the United States and manage it yourself. Or if you don't wish to be active, you can buy a franchise and give the management and so on. But you have to have the ability to develop and direct that business. You and your family can come and live in the United States. That process takes 6 to 9 weeks. And you apply at the consul, whether that's a consul in Barbados, which is the nearest one to Grenada, or it's a consul in India. Lawyers will guide you where the best place to do that application is based on your personal circumstances and what you're applying. Okay, so the theory is, it's no longer a theory, it's a proven way into the United States. Grenada, obtain the citizenship, 1 month, 2 months break, go and apply for an E2 visa in your nearest consulate. 6 weeks thereafter, from the application, a few days after the interview, you have the right to live and invest and reside in the United States. Whoever the main applicant is has to be engaged with the main business. The spouse can live anywhere or work anywhere in the United States. Kids below 21 can also get E2 dependent visas. If those children are below 18, they get visa-free, not visa-free, they get free schooling in the United States in the public sector. between 18 to 21, dependent on the state. If you fulfill the residency requirement, they get discounted in-state tuition, which is a fantastic benefit. The benefit of this education piece alone can be more than the investment in the first place. And the really beautiful thing is, this is called a non-immigrant visa. It's not permanent residence like a green card. It's a non-immigrant visa. So every 5 years we have to renew it. But the renewal is you go to the embassy and you show the business is existing, because they're trying to prevent people just saying on a plaque and saying they're running a murder and they go there and there's nothing there. So the business has to be existing. 1 or 2 Americans have to be employed. 1 or 2 jobs have to be created in the non-immigrant. But because it's a non-immigrant, non-permanent residence visa, if you spend less than 122 days in the United States, you're not taxed on your worldwide income like you are with a green card. There's no minimum length of stay. Can we fast forward 2 slides, please? There's no minimum length of stay with the E2 visa as there is with the green card. Now, you'll say, this sounds wonderful. Why did Manoj and Jeetu not tell us about the E2 6 months ago? Why were they promoting EB5? The answer was, EB5 is only popular in non-treaty countries, okay, which are Brazil, China, India, South Africa, Russia. These are the key markets for EB5. And you know what? The guys selling EB5 do a fantastic job. They sell 10,000 EB5s in these every year. And there's 70,000 people waiting. Absolutely fantastic. However, in countries where there's an E2 visa with the United States, 90% of people go through the E2 visa because it's much more flexible, quicker, much more benefit. So it's an over-the-counter visa. Why wait 10 years, break your head, wait in the line, spend money is in someone else's pocket. This is under your entire control. Okay? So that's why we have 40,000 people. 40,000 people went to the United States with an E2 visa last year. And this visa has been in existence since 1812. And it came about when England tried to recolonize the United States and failed, and the United States gave them this visa. That's just a little bit of history. So it's a very long-running issue. It's not something that we came up with yesterday. And to be honest, dwelling on that point, when I first heard about Grenada had an E2 visa, I was at a presentation 3 years ago. We were promoting our project in Dominica, and the Minister of Tourism stood up and she was doing a presentation like this, and she said, with my passport you can live in the United States. I said to her at the end, ma'am, I really don't think this is going to work. 12 months ago, I had to apologize, okay, and if you can speak to me. And last year, I saw 90 individuals from China who got Grenada and then got their E2 visas. Grenada, China, name of the company they invested, E2 visa. This has now happened with Indians, okay? The lawyers can give references of their clients. So this is no longer a theory. This is a very flexible tool. You can become a citizen of a treaty country and then benefit from the E2 visa. There's not very many countries which have E2 treaties which do citizenship by investment. The only other one is Turkey, but you all understand the challenges Turkey is facing. Its passport isn't very strong, you can't travel very far, it has sectarian issues, and it's just a general difficult country. Grenada is the same price and has a lot more benefits. The United States is your ultimate goal. Grenada provides a great holiday home, a great holiday destination, because you made an investment in a hotel. During construction of this hotel, we said, please come and stay in our open hotel in the Caribbean, which is either in St. Kitts or Dominica. And once it's open, please come and stay in the hotel you've invested in. You have a week a year. The hotel generates a cash flow. You take your cash flow, whether that's 2 to 5%, depending on what the hotel owns and generates that year. And after 5 years, you can sell your investment to someone else. So you've totally exited that Grenada piece. And at the same time, you're running your business in the United States, whether that's active or passive. Maybe sometimes the family is split, the husband or wife stays here, the other half of the couple goes there, and they do it for tax efficient purposes. And sometimes if the family is a little bit larger, so there's elderly parents, maybe kids about 21, rather than having 2 to 3 different EB5 investments each now at 900,000, 2 people can have 50-50 in a E2 business. or two people can have 150,000 separately in each business, which are related or not related depending on what the desire is. So it's a cost-effective way to get to the United States, especially given the definition of dependence on the Grenada piece is so wide. Now, it gets a little bit interesting here because the law on the, go back, the law on the previous side of the cosmos, the law on the piece which says, on the E2, it says only one member of the family has to be a national of a treaty country, and then the rest can be E2 dependents, even in their native passport. So in this example, you have a Grenadian woman who's taken the Grenadian passport. The husband is maintaining the Chinese nationality. China doesn't have a treaty, but because he's married to someone who is now Grenadian, he can also apply for the E2. And same in the case of the children. Why is this important? Because China doesn't permit dual nationality. So the couple in this case, she gave up her Chinese passport, kept Grenadian. The three of them kept the Chinese. Okay, now a lot of people just turn a blind eye to this. They, Grenada doesn't disclose anything. We don't disclose anything. It's all a very confidential process. But if someone wishes to go and get an OCI card, only one person of the family has to do that. The other individual in the marriage can keep the Indian passport, have the ability to go to the United States on the E2 visa, and if they have agricultural land, that whole process doesn't become an issue. Now, where it becomes really interesting is that if you spend less than 122 days in the United States, you're not tax resident there. If you spend less than 183 days, you're not tax resident in India. You then go and take a Dubai residency visa. Become tax residents in Dubai, we don't have tax in Dubai. So you have three abodes, but your tax is Dubai. Okay? Dubai is not going to charge you any tax. So you're out of the US tax system on your foreign income. You're out of the Indian system on your foreign income, correct? And Dubai doesn't care whether it's foreign or local or anything, they don't tax you. So, with some smart tax planning, this can be quite a cost-effective way of moving this forward. Okay, so that's on the E2 piece. We can flip forward one or two slides. So, one back. So let's just talk about the cost on the Grenada piece. We touched upon it lightly. So the cost of the share is $220,000. 10% is paid up front. Then you pay the government these fees in intervals depending on how many people in the family at the beginning. Okay, the application is submitted. With the grace of God, it's accepted and the balance is paid. If for whatever reason you are rejected, there's some background issues, and really we only have a very limited rejection amount. We return whatever you paid us because I recognize that no one woke up this morning saying they want to invest in real estate in Grenada for the sake of real estate in Grenada. You're all here because you may want citizenship of Grenada because it provides you tax advantages or travel advantages, or you want to go to the United States. Okay, so we recognize that, but for whatever reason the application isn't successful, we refund whatever you paid us. The Grenadian government, like every government in the world, when you pay the money, never gives it back. So whatever you pay the government is unfortunately not refundable. And this figure is modular, so if you have an extra child, there's an extra amount based on how old the kid is. It could be an extra 25,000 or 50,000, depending on the exact age, and you can work out these criteria for you. After 5 years, you can sell this to someone else who wants citizenship, and you maintain your citizenship for perpetual. And what are you investing in? Maybe I can just flip through the next few slides. So we're building the Six Senses Resort. Six Senses was voted by Travel and Leisure as one of the leading brands in the world for the last 3 years running. We had our groundbreaking in August. We're finalizing all the construction contracts as we speak. We'll be on site in January. My team is mobilizing. They're only going to be there. All the entitlements are in place. And this is the sort of quality of cruise resort that we built in the past, and we're going to build it again in the future. There's a great lake on the side, and this is where the spa will be, and then some other images of the hotel as you fly through, one of the restaurants, and swimming pool area. So it'll be a really high-end luxury hotel, which will drive the rate, to provide the return on your investment that has been in the United States is a huge tourism market, 350 million people. And it's going to be the source market where the tourists come from to drive the tourism. And we've been in the Caribbean now since 2012, 2013. We believe in integrating. It's the only way to survive when you're in a foreign country. You have to become part of the society. And that's why people recognize us and they appreciate the development they've given us. So that in a nutshell is Grenada E2. I don't know, have I missed anything? Would you like me to expand on anything?
I think only you covered it well, so I think, yeah, questions would really, please. Yes.
Yes, sorry. 1 second before we get on to questions. So, that's a disadvantage. When I speak, I don't stick to a script, so forgive me. One more forward, if you can get to the slide. So, surprisingly, Grenada is very well known for its medical university. 25% of the country's GDP comes from this university, which was established 41 years ago. It was recently bought by a US fund for about $2.5 million. And believe it or not, it's the largest provider of US medical residencies for the last 10 years. They sent close to 1,000 medical residencies into the United States because of the reciprocal arrangements they have. I'm sure most people know a doctor who went to St. George's University. Students from 140 countries, lots of Indians have been there. It's accredited to the US, it's accredited to the UK, and it really is a fantastic medical school. So I know a lot of us do these sorts of investments for their children, and I know how difficult it is to get into medical university here. So if the ultimate plan is to end up in the US, your kids can benefit from their Canadian citizenship. I mean, it's easier to enter this university with your Canadian citizenship than a foreign citizenship, and there's all sorts of scholarships available based on various criteria. So this could be a very interesting opportunity for the children in the future as well. Have a great impossible study in their lovely country, and then do their residency in the US, and see where they end up with that flexibility. Sure.
What sort of discount do they get, the students get in fees?
Look, it depends on need and it depends on intellect. I mean, I've seen people get 90% based on need, and I've seen just a normal person get 20-30%. So it really depends.
Can you speak a little louder?
Sure.
Do you need a mic?
There is a mic. Why don't you
Oh,
use
there's a mic. I could have used that from the outset. Sorry.
No, but please use it so that.
Thanks.